Alright, we're going to talk about the surface area and volume of a cylinder. And again, we're going to break it down piece by piece, and also use a formula. So if we look at the net of a cylinder, this is what we're going to get: two circles and a rectangle. And the circles are very basic. We're just going to apply the formula to find the area of those: pi times radius squared. Now, notice in the diagram we don't have the radius; we have the diameter. So we're going to first cut that in half to get 3.5. We'll square it, and we'll multiply by pi. This is in terms of pi, but when we actually multiply 12.25 times pi, we get 38.48451 square centimeters. Now that's the area of just one of the circles. But this circle is exactly the same, so really not much work here. If we want them together, we could just multiply this by 2, or if we're labeling it, they're going to be exactly the same. Now we want this rectangular piece, which is going to be a bit more work. Easy part here is we need the length and width, and you can see here that 13 centimeters here is actually the height of the cylinder, and that's pretty easy. If you take a piece of paper and make it like you would wrap around a soup can, you can actually unfurl it. You'll see the rectangle, and this piece is just going to be the height of that paper. Now the little more difficult part is this piece here. Okay, now this piece, we have to find the circumference of the circle. Okay, and I'll show you a little animation. Let me just pause this and go over there. Okay, this little animation shows you that that circumference is actually that length of that rectangle. So we'll let it run again. I'm going to pause it at the end here and just notice that pink line. Bang. This length of this rectangle actually wraps around this completely one, which is also known as circumference. So we'll roll that carpet back up, and you can see it wraps perfectly around. So we're trying to find the actual distance here, and we just said it's the circumference of that circle. So we need to apply another formula: circumference equals pi times diameter. You could use 2 pi r as well. It's an alternate version, but since I have the diameter, it's a little easier to do this. Now you can see here the diameter is 7. I'm going to multiply by pi, and I get this rather large number. Now listen very closely. That's not the area of this rectangle. All that is this line. So now this line is, we have the measurement here, 21.99 yada yada, and the width would be 13. Now we apply the formula length times width. So you got a lot of formulas here. When I do that, area of this rectangle is going to be the length times the width. So there I have the area of that rectangle. Okay, you can see it's a lot of work. It's length times width, but you actually have to find the circumference, and the circumference of the circle, and the height, which is the width. So now all I have to do is add these three pieces up: 38.48451 doubled, and then this rectangular area. And when I do that, I'm just going to have the surface area, and there we go. And you'd probably round from that point. But that's the piece by piece method. Again, it's helpful if you don't have a top to this figure, if it's a pencil holder or something of the sorts. But now, after all that work, you're probably going to want to know what the formula is, and here it is: 2 times pi times radius times height plus 2 times pi times radius squared. So again, radius is 3.5. I plugged it in. You can always pause it if you need to look at this. I squared my 3.5. I'm doing order of operations. And my height, I didn't mention, was 13. So squared. Now all my multiplication is done with the calculator, and again using the pi button on the calculator if it's available to me, because that's the most accurate. If not, you can use 3.14. So ask your teacher what they'd like you to use. Adding together, there's our surface area. You can see it's really close to the last one. I had some calculator, some extra digits using the Microsoft calculator, so there's a little difference, but it's the same process. Volume, pi times radius squared times height. Plug my radius in, square it, and now just multiply these three numbers, and there's my volume. So using the formula gets you the volume. Pretty straightforward. Another thing to note here, this part of the formula, 2 times pi times radius times height, that's going to get to the rectangular piece. So if you just use that formula, you get the rectangular piece. And if you use 2 pi r squared, that actually gets you both the circles. So you can kind of alter this to meet your needs. So that's it. Area and surface area and volume of cylinder. Hope it helped.